Hello everybody, my name is Tyler Funk and this is EDU 526 William Woods Online, Week 3, 3.1 graded assignment, presentation dealing with challenging personality scenario video presentation. Okay, the strategy I chose to do for this assignment was on page 70 of our reading and has to deal with a must be right scenario. It's important that an athletic director, looking at all these scenarios, it's very important the athletic director is prepared for these difficult situations that's going to come up from time to time from parents, players, other coaches. Anything that's going to come up, they need to be prepared and be ready to handle these situations and not be flustered. In this situation, a parent is extremely frustrated with the playing time that their son is getting on the team. Very, very angry. The parent comes into the office without a meeting and just barges in and says that he needs to see with the athletic director, and that you can tell he's very angry. He's not going to take no for an answer, and he needs to see the athletic director immediately for an explanation of what is going on. The first claim that he makes is that Coach Johnson isn't fair. He says that he's not fair for not playing his kids. He tells the AD in an angry voice that his son's been a good kid. He hasn't missed a practice. He's a senior. He's been there for 4 years, but he never gets to play. This is a situation that can be very tough for an AD for someone to come in so frustrated. The AD begins to ask questions about their son's history with the team and with the program to see how he was in middle school, how his skills compare to other people in this sport, and how if it's been like this, growing up in 8th grade and 9th grade basketball or whatever it might be, if he's always been a player that's struggled to see time, or if he's been someone that plays all the time and now suddenly he's not playing. The parent uses a lot of inappropriate language, and he blames the coach, and he just is very, very unhappy with the coach. The AD asks if the student or the parent have talked to the coach directly, and the parent gives a smart aleck response of, well, what do you pay him for? Doesn't he need to talk to the kids? He's the coach. So basically he says there's not. The AD asks if there's been any communication, and the parent says the coach doesn't talk to anyone. The parents, the student, the athlete, he doesn't talk to anybody. The AD asks for them all to meet together so they can discuss it, and the parent just comes back with, he's a senior, does that mean anything? He keeps kind of deflecting that situation about communication. He just keeps getting more angry about he's a senior, he doesn't do anything wrong, he wants him to play. And then lastly, the last thing before it's done is the AD just pushes for more communication and help facilitate the communication. So those are kind of the facts of what this situation is. Parent angry, playing time, senior hasn't done anything wrong in his eyes, and that's kind of the main gist of it. How to handle this situation. First and foremost, I think one of the most important things is that the kind of behavior that this parent is showing, this shouldn't be acceptable in the athletic department setting. An email or phone call would have sufficed, and you could set up a parent meeting with that coach even, or just the parent one-on-one. But to come into an office, just imagine kicking the door in and screaming, I need to talk to the AD, is something that, shouldn't be tolerated, and even to the point where I almost would say, let's make a meeting and come back where we can talk about it and discuss it like adults. If the situation presented itself that there is open time to meet, then maybe I would meet with the parent, but I don't think that's acceptable behavior. This is something that ADs are probably going to all have to deal with. Just one thing that's, especially in the sports of basketball and volleyball, things where there's not a lot of playing time, there's not a lot of spaces, and there's a lot of kids. So playing time is always going to be an issue in those sports, because it's not like football or sports where there's a ton of positions people can play. So they have to be, equipped to handle these kind of situations. First, like I said, the meeting is the first thing. The second thing is the bad language and the temper of the parent. I would just continually try to calm them down and try to remind them that, them yelling and screaming isn't going to help the situation. If we, sit down and talk like adults and present the facts of the situation, and that might be a way to help them. But calming them down so something doesn't, drastic happen, like a fight or something like that. Just get them under control so they can communicate better and the situation would be so much better in that in that regard. I do like the idea of asking him why he's upset. We can really get to the core of it and find out what the biggest issue is. And in my eyes, looking at the situation, the biggest issue is the lack of communication from the coach. If this is true, what's coming from the parent's mouth, that the coach does not communicate with the player or the parents, that is something that needs to be taken care of immediately, and something that all coaches should be open to is communication about playing time. They need to talk to the student athletes, they need to talk to the parents if it comes to that, but we need to make sure the coaches are open with their communication, because we don't want a parent feeling like they won't even talk to them or explain why they're not playing. I think the biggest thing is to set a ground rule of how the coach handles playing time in the preseason when you meet with the parents. Kind of a pecking order of how this is going to go. So if for our example, in our basketball program, we know we treat these young student athletes like young men, and the first thing they need to do is come talk to us face to face. Meet with us, and we can meet at any time, after or before practice, and we always are open to that. Come meet to us, discuss why you're not getting the playing time you're at, and we can talk to them face to face. If they're still not happy and the parent wants to meet, then we would meet with the parent. We can meet with the student athlete and the parent, or just the parent by himself. And then if they're still not happy, that's when we would talk to the athletic director and set up a meeting for all parties to be involved. That way we can all be on the same page. But it's important that we go through those steps. That way the communication's open, so the student's not coming home to mom and dad saying, well, I don't know why they're not playing me. I'm at practice every day, I work hard, but the coach hasn't given me any explanation of why they're not playing. So I think that's the biggest thing, is communication needs to be open. Situation, like I said, the biggest things for me is, the frustration, getting that under control, and then talking about communication and talking with the parents. So in this last situation, I would get together, I'd just keep pushing the communication with the parent and the coach, and I'd try to set up a meeting where all three of us can get in a room and hash it out and talk. That way the parent can feel happier about the situation. The coach can learn from this situation about communication with their parents and student athletes. Thank you.